beginning of July 2024, I met someone and quickly fell in love with them. It was very surreal and very odd, to be completely honest with you, because I had never fallen in love with somebody so quickly or felt so strongly about somebody so quick as I did for him. And the feelings were mutual on his end as well. We both felt like we were the one for each other, and we decided to move forward with things very quickly. We did decide to move forward with things. We started to plan like a life together, and it was cute. It was cute. However, I had put that relationship above my relationship with God. So I was feeling very guilty about that. And I just knew like that wasn't right. On the other hand, or not on the other hand, but adding to that, I felt as though something wasn't right. Like something deep down inside of me felt like something is not right. Like I didn't know if it was too good to be true or something was really not right. So I was a little uneasy throughout the relationship. But I still, kept doing what I was doing with him, and I still fought to be in a relationship with him, or decided to be in a relationship with him. And, everything was cool and smooth sailing. We had our little hiccups here and there, as the relationship does. But the biggest hiccup came in early August. I got a phone call from him telling me that he tested positive for HIV. And during that time, when he told me that, I felt really weird. I almost felt nothing. I felt really numb. I didn't know what to think. It was almost like a dream, kind of. It just didn't feel real. I didn't know what to believe because I had never imagined myself being in that predicament. I mean, obviously, when you're sexually active and you're, doing things without protection, anything can happen. But I just never felt as though that could happen to me. So after I found out the information, I took the precautions that I needed to take to make sure, that I was okay, or like whatever I needed to know that was happening within me. And I got tested. The first test came back negative. But it's very important for you with any STD. I'm not very educated on those things, but it's very important for you to keep getting tested monthly so that, you don't have any false negatives, because that's very possible for you to have false negative, especially if you get tested too soon after you were infected. So yes, the first test came back negative, and as much as I should have been relieved, I wasn't. I had just, lost the relationship that I really desired and didn't know what else to do. I was really hurt by that because it felt like really good, even though I still had those feelings of uncertainty. It felt good, it felt like something that I really wanted. So I was hurt by that. And then it was scary just going through the process of finding out if I was positive or not. So yeah, that was just a lot. We ended the relationship. I don't know whether to say unfortunately or fortunately, but we decided to end the relationship, not move forward. It was a hard decision, not gonna lie to you, but we decided to do what we thought was best. So as I say, you have to continue to get tested when you're in that predicament. So I kept getting tested, and I believe I got tested about 3 times. All of the tests were negative. So I am HIV negative. Thank God. And that was, or should have been, a relief. And it still wasn't. I was relieved on that end. I was, grateful. But I just could not shake that I did not get what I wanted. I could not have what I wanted. And that hurt me. I put that relationship before me and God's relationship. So I just felt as though me and God were at odds, because this is what I want, God. Like, I've been obedient. I've been faithful thus far up until then. And I can't get what I want. Like, what's going on? So I was really feeling myself. I was really feeling entitled. And I was mad at God. I was mad at God for a long time. So that happened in August. Yeah, that happened in August. After that, I wasn't the same. I was trying to get back on my feet and trying to get back into the presence of God, but I just didn't want to. I didn't have it in me. It just wasn't a desire of mine. I wanted to be mad at God. And I was. I said, listen, I'm mad, and I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't feel like going to church. I don't feel like praying. I don't feel like talking to you. It was kind of like me and God also had a bad breakup. Like, we were on bad terms. you know them, those relationships you'll have where y'all like, but you're gonna get back together, but you just like, right now, we on bad terms. I'm not fooling with you. So it was that with me and God. And he's God, so he's just like, okay, you'll be back. I still love you, and you can have this time, but don't go too far. But I had a time. I did. I lived my life the way that I wanted to live it, as much as I saw fit. I started drinking. I started having sex again, which is even crazy, because, girl, you just got out of this situation. I mean, I did protect myself this time around. You just got out of this situation, and you're gonna go back into it. Like, you should be saving yourself. You should be calming down. But no, I'm like, I wanna do what I want to do. So I did what I wanted to do. And for a long time, from I believe October. Well, okay, so from August to December of 2024, I was just doing what I wanted to do. I fell to masturbation. I fell to a lot of stuff, a lot of things that I thought I was free from. Keyword thought. I was free from, but I fell back into it. And yeah, I just thought I was having a good old time, a grand old time. And while it felt good in the moment, it wasn't good for my spirit. It wasn't good at all. And all that time, I felt as though, like, I'm okay. I knew I was hurting, and I felt justified by doing what I was doing. I was definitely hurting. I was living in that pain, but I wasn't grieving properly. I didn't know how to grieve, and I didn't even know, like, I knew on a surface level, but I didn't really know that you could grieve somebody who was still here. But yeah, I found out that I was grieving, and I was just like, okay, well, how do you do this? Whole time, my spirit was crying out for God. I just was so rebellious. I was living in rebellion, and I literally felt justified and entitled. I felt justified by my actions, by what I was doing. And I knew it wasn't okay, but I was going to do it anyway. I knew I was hurting God, but I was going to do it anyway, because I felt like God disappointed me and he hurt me. I kept feeling this tug to get back into the presence, but I just didn't want to. I wasn't ready. I was still living or I was still having fun living the life, or thought I was having fun living the life that I wanted to live. I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready to come back yet. But I just knew, I'm like, you can't die in this. Like, you can't die living like this. Like, what if God comes back tomorrow and you're not ready? Your house isn't in order. So I'm just like, oh, okay, like, I want to, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I had never felt that type of frustration toward God before. I hated myself. I didn't want to live. I kind of contemplated suicide, but not really. I was just praying like, God, if you don't wake me up tomorrow, I'll be fine. I was in such a dark place. I was so depressed. I was in so much pain. I didn't feel like I could handle it. Like it felt so much pressure, but also like nothing at all. It's such a weird feeling. I felt numb, but I felt heaviness at the same time. I should have been thanking God. I should have been grateful, but I was so mad. I was so mad that I didn't get my way. And here's the kicker, honestly. Here's the kicker. I had the symptoms of HIV. I had the symptoms. Symptoms are similar in a lot of illnesses, but I had flu-like symptoms. You know, the body aches, the fever. I don't know if I had a fever, but I had the body aches and chills. And I came up with a dry cough. It was weird. So I thought it was just, maybe I had COVID, maybe I had the flu, maybe I had tonsillitis because my throat was hurting too. That's how it started out. My throat was hurting, but I was sick the whole month of July, actually. And I just couldn't figure out what it was. It was so weird. I never felt that way before. So I'm just kind of like going back to before I found out. Yeah, I had body aches, I had chills, I had the cough, my throat, and the cherry on top is I thought I was having my cycle, but this was different. This was a lot different. I only had my cycle because I don't want to say the word. The dot. I only had the dot. It only lasted for 3 days and it was very light. Very, very light. And my dot is not like that. It's the opposite. But it came and I was just like, what's going on? So I'm thinking that, okay, maybe I'm pregnant. Maybe it's implantation bleeding. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, being pregnant would have been crazy too, but I didn't know what was going on. And then I looked, I just kept researching my symptoms, and that did come up. HIV did come up, but I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure of what it was. But now, after he told me, and you know, some time went past and I thought about my symptoms, and I'm like, or when I was waiting for my results, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like I had the symptoms. There's no way I'm negative. No way that I'm negative. I had the symptoms. I know I got it. I know I got it. So I kind of like not made peace with it, but kind of settled myself like, okay, you did it. You know, you didn't take the right precautions, and this is what you have to live with now. So that was my mindset. But all 3 tests, they came back negative. So I'm like, I know that that was God for sure. That was God blocking it. And it's possible that I did have it, but he turned it around. Like, you don't know with God. Well, you do know, you should know, but God does what he wants when he wants to do it, is what I'm trying to say. Man, I'm so grateful, because in the midst of all of that, midst of me rebelling and walking away and doing what I wanted to do and being unfaithful, God was still there, and he was still faithful. He was still waiting for me to come back. Like, that's just the type of God he is, the type of father he is. And I'm just so grateful for him. I'm grateful to know him and be able to have access to him. But I wanted to tell you guys about how I came to this point. How I came back. Wow. Thank you, God. So I had was having trouble going to sleep. I was kind of always had trouble going to sleep, like falling asleep and having very good rest. So I decided that I was going to get something to help me. In the past, when I've gotten high, that helped me go to sleep. Like, all I wanted to do was go to sleep. I didn't want to do anything but go to sleep. And so I went and got edibles. And I'm like, okay. I went in there. I talked to the guy. He was like, what are you looking for? Well, I was like, I don't really know too much about this stuff, but I'm just looking for something to help me sleep. And he was like, okay, specifically help you sleep? And he was like, yeah. He was like, okay, well, we have this. I'm like, cool. You know what you're talking about? Cool. I'll take it. So I took it, and then I'm thinking, like, leaving out and on my way back home, I'm thinking, like, should I take this whole thing, or should I take half, you know? But on the bag, it literally said, if you're not used to this, I advise you to take at least a quarter of it. Start out with a quarter of it. I said, oh no, I'm a G. You know, I've been here before. I've done this before. I'm gonna take the whole thing. Child. So I took the whole thing, and it kicked in. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm high. Let me go to sleep. Let me get in bed. Let me do what I gotta do. Go to sleep so I can be ready for tomorrow. It was what, like 9:30, 10 o'clock. 9:30, 10 o'clock. I was making sure that I was, you know, good and rested. Well, I'm rested and ready to get up for work tomorrow. I'm laughing because, girl, y'all found out why I'm laughing. So I you know, I'm high and I'm trying to fall asleep, and then my mind is racing, as it usually does when I'm not high. So I'm like, I could have done without this. I should have just went to sleep sober. I could have done without this. My mind racing, and it's racing times 10. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm supposed to be asleep right now. When am I going to go to sleep? So I fell into temptation. I fell into, y'all don't need to know that. I fell into temptation and immediately felt guilty. I'm like, yo, why are you doing that? But I felt more so sad than I felt guilty. I was dealing with somebody, and that ended, and I'm just like, dang, like I ain't got no luck in these streets. So I was sad. I'm like, man, and I really wanted to call him and talk to him, but I'm just like, nope, nah, we gotta let that go and move forward. So I did. I let it go, and then that turned into like sad tears, you know, reminiscing, sad tears. And that turned into me thinking about my ex. And I mean, I thought about him, but I didn't think about him in this way. Like, he came to my mind, and then the situation that happened came to my mind, and then it was a burst of emotion that came, but I felt joy and I felt gratefulness. I felt gratitude toward God. I'm like, wow, like you really brought me through this situation. I'm trying not to cry. In that moment, I felt like God really kept me. Like, you really brought me out, and I didn't get a chance to feel this way. I didn't get a chance to express my love and my gratitude to you for keeping me. And it was a lot. So that cry, that sad, soft, little cute cry, became louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And God was taking me through my life. When I was a little girl, he was showing me some things. He was showing me some things that happened. I think I told y'all that I have trouble remembering things from when I was a child, but he was taking me and showing me some things that happened, and it was almost like he was healing those things. And that cry, I just started not like screaming. It became like a screaming cry. I was in control, but not in control. I knew what was going on, but I wasn't in control. It was kind of like God was like, just let it happen. Like, this needed to happen. Okay. Yeah, it was kind of like God was just like, just let it happen. I was not in control. For a long time, I had been in control of my own life. And in this moment, I could not control anything. God was in control of everything. He was just taking me down memory lane and reminding me of things. And